Hello, welcome to Salty Swims. This is a short safety video to run briefly through the science and safety around getting into cold water. So my name is Ange, I run Salty Swims. As you can see today, it's a beautifully flat day, relatively calm, and a lovely sunrise. And this is why I get up at 7 o'clock to come down for the sunrise. So cold water swimming is swimming in waters below 20 degrees. Extreme swimming is swimming below 15 degrees. Winter swimming, we're always pretty much below 15 degrees. When you enter water that is below 15 degrees, you will get something that's called the cold water shock response. Now, the cold water shock response is when your body goes into flight or fight mode because it believes you are going to die. No two ways about it. Who puts themselves deliberately in the middle of the sea, in the middle of winter, in freezing water? So your body can't actually tell that you've done this on purpose. So it goes into emergency mode. What that means is that your blood pressure will shoot up, you will get a hit of cortisol and you will get a hit of adrenaline. Eventually you'll get some endorphins, but that comes a little bit later when you're swimming around. Now, if you have high blood pressure, obviously this can be problematic for you. But what you can do before you enter the sea is splash your face with water. Splashing your face with water will activate the dive response in your nose. Again, your brain cannot tell that you're not going underwater at this point, and it will feel the water on your nose and trigger the dive response. The dive response is your brain goes, "Oh, head's going underwater, conserve oxygen, lower blood pressure to conserve oxygen." And it will therefore lower your blood pressure before you get in the sea. What we don't want to do when you get in the sea is splash your face, because what that will do is as your blood pressure is rising on entry, it will then try to lower itself, and it is very, very confusing for the brain. So if you do have high blood pressure, a little splash of the face on the beach 5 minutes before we get in to lower your blood pressure slightly. So on entering cold water, going very, very carefully and slowly. Your body will hyperventilate and you will breathe like this. At that point, you stay still. You see a lot of people go, just dive straight in. Hyperventilation is an involuntary response to the cold. If you dive straight in and you hyperventilate underwater, your lungs will fill with water and you have a high probability of drowning. So you stay very still. You stay still until you can feel that your breathing is regulated and you feel more normal. You stand, you move your arms about, and you stay in one space. In the sea and everything's settled down, your hyperventilation is under control, we will start to swim. No two people are the same. So there's an old saying, you can stay in as many degrees as the water is. You cannot. That was debunked years ago. It's an old wives' tale and it's a load of rubbish. So the science of this is, if you are a size 8 and you have no meat on your bones, you cannot stay in the water as long as a person who is a size 20 or an extra large, purely because there's not enough of you to combat the cold. So for a larger person, it will take a lot longer for the cold to work through the layers of skin, muscle and fat. If you have very little fat and very little muscle, that's going to happen very quickly and you'll be at risk of hypothermia if you stay in too long. Now, normal body temperature is 37 degrees, hypothermia is 35. So it's only 2 degrees and that can happen very quickly if you're not careful. So when I say a few minutes, I mean just a couple of minutes, and you build up very gradually. So you could go in 2 minutes 1 week. If you're very unsure, 2 minutes will be enough. Then the next week you can go in 2 minutes 30 seconds and then 3 minutes and work your way up. Before you know it, you'll be staying in for 10 minutes. Now when you get out, you will get something called afterdrop. Afterdrop is your body losing temperature for a further 20 to 40 minutes. So it's really important that you stay on the beach for 20 to 40 minutes after your swim, because that's when your temperature will begin to rise and you can tell that you're okay. If you've stayed in too long and are at risk of hypothermia, you will shake vigorously for an extended period of time. Now everybody shakes because that's a natural way for their body to warm up. But if you cannot stop shaking, then you have likely stayed in too long. Hypothermia looks like excessive shaking, an inability to coordinate yourself and slurred speech. Now this is one of the reasons why you should never swim alone, because you won't be able to tell that. You'll feel fine. It's going to be the people around you that will be able to tell if you're at risk of hypothermia or not. And if all of those factors are in play, slurred speech, incoherent, excessive shaking, then you really should get medical help. If somebody is extremely cold on the shoreline, you do not put a silver foil blanket around them. A silver foil blanket is to retain heat. If there is no heat to retain, you will just retain cold. So what you must do is layer them up. So as many layers of clothes, a warm coat on top of them, blankets if people have them. I always bring enough layers to warm somebody else up if there's a problem at the beach. After this, you have a cup of tea, slice of cake, some biscuits and a chat, and everybody will be on a high when coming out. I may have said a few horror stories, but I've never seen anybody come out of the sea without a smile on their face. Sea swimming is an amazing sport, and if you do it responsibly, it can be safe and you will enjoy it immensely. You meet some fabulous people. It's been a real joy in my life, and I look forward to meeting you when you start.